then I'm going to move into a little more information. So as usual, we have some questionnaires for you to take part in, but they will only be at the end of the presentation. So there will be links in the end, and we will announce that. These are for our funder, the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities. And these folks have generously funded us for 2 years to do these presentations, and we're very grateful to them for their support. And so the more questionnaires we get at the end, the more likely we are to be able to get more funding for more presentations like this. And so what we're going to do at the end is there will be surveys in English, Spanish, and Korean, and we would greatly appreciate you taking the time to complete those. So I am Dr. Christine Drew. I'm an assistant professor in special education at Auburn University. I'm a board certified behavior analyst as well. And I do research on adolescents with intellectual disabilities and challenging behavior. And then I also provide sexuality and relationship education for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
I guess I'm next, right?
I've been lucky enough to work with Dr. Doris Hill, and so she can introduce herself now.
I'm Dr. Hill. I'm the director of the Regional Autism Network and associate research professor. And we have been so lucky to get the grant from the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities to provide these trainings. And we are so excited to have Ms. Stroud and Ms. Thomas here today from the Lee Russell Council of Governments to talk about disability and aging. And we appreciate that right up front. And we thank you for that, because that was a topic that had come up that people were interested, because once kids graduate from high school with disabilities, whether or not you have a disability, later in life, where do you go and what do you do? So that's kind of, we appreciate the fact that you were so willing to do this today. And on that note, I'm going to hand it over to our boss, Miss Maria Gutierrez.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Hill is just joking. She's so kind. My name is Maria Gutierrez. I am the family navigator for the region number 4. We cover 20 counties, and I am also the parent of a young adult on the spectrum. So like Dr. Hill and Dr. Drew mentioned, this is a topic that sometimes parents do not fully comprehend because they do not understand which agencies collaborate with parents that have a loved one with a disability. So we are just so happy to have these 2 speakers, and so the parents could learn, what are the agencies, what they do for families impacted by disabilities, what kind of programs they could be connected with. So I am so excited to learn more and to share this information. I just want to let our attendees know that at the end of the event, we'll be sending the PDF document in English and Spanish, and so that you guys could review it later on, and also we'll be sending the links for the recording. So thank you so much for being here, and now I'll pass it to our speakers so they could present themselves.
Good morning. We are very happy to be here. We like any opportunity to get the message out about what we do. We're very fortunate to have funding sources at the state level, federal level, local level to administer programs. Of course, our goal is positively impacting the lives of seniors, those with disabilities, and their families. And so we have multiple programs that are able to serve elderly, disabled individuals, and those caring for people. Of course, we are the Area Agency on Aging. I guess I skipped introducing myself. Gina Thomas, and I'm the director of the Area Agency on Aging, which is part of the Lee Russell Council of Governments. We serve Lee and Russell counties. No matter where you live in Alabama, you are covered by an Area Agency on Aging. The Aging Network covers the whole state. We are one of the smaller agencies with only 2 counties. There are some agencies that cover 10, maybe even more counties, but we are a smaller agency. Although the populations of our counties are relatively large. So we do serve a lot of people. And one of the programs that is really our largest program, and the one that is most likely to meet the needs of individuals in the community is our Medicaid Elderly and Disabled Waiver Program. Also has a component called the ACT waiver, the Community Transition Waiver. And so Jennifer Stroud is here today to answer questions. She does all of our enrollments for the Elderly and Disabled Waiver. And as far as getting to the nitty gritty, getting to the work of actually putting someone on that program, she's the one out there in the trenches helping enroll people. And so as a practical matter, she is going to be someone with a lot of answers for someone looking to get services in the home. And I'll let her talk a little bit about that.
All right, so the Medicaid waiver program, it is for anyone who is elderly or disabled. I don't consider age. You look at the medical conditions of a client or a patient. We have kids who are 6 months old all the way to 108. Now their disabilities or their medical conditions the physical has to outweigh the mental. So a lot of individuals, if they just have autism or on the spectrum, chances are they're not going to qualify unless they have a corresponding disability, whether it's epilepsy, diabetes, hypertension, or something like that.
Because the mental health program, Alabama Mental Health, East Alabama Mental Health would handle the component. Unfortunately, I know that waiting list.
The waiting list is long for the ID program, which is what mental health helps with individuals with intellectual disabilities.
But as far as Medicaid is concerned, if someone needs help because of a mental health diagnosis, that gets routed to East Alabama Mental Health. That being said, we do everything we can. Jennifer will do everything she can because our waiting list isn't as long, because we have more slots. If there is any way for them to qualify, then we try to find a way.
Yes. So like I said, if they have another corresponding disability as opposed to just intellectual disability, then I definitely work hard to get them on. And a lot of our clients do have autism, but they also have another disability.
Like seizures are a good example.
Seizures, hypertension. A lot of them, if they're preterm babies, they have another aspect of disabilities. I don't know if there's any questions or chats. I think we have the other slides.
Right. Yeah, we can move on the slides, and just an overview of other programs we have in addition to the waiver program. We have nutrition programs, home delivered meals, and we have around 200 individuals in Lee and Russell County who receive a weekly frozen meal delivery. We also serve hot meals at our senior centers, and there are 8 centers in Lee and Russell County: Auburn, Opelika, Fort Mitchell, Lochapoka, Smiths, Beulah, Phoenix City, forgetting one. Hurtsboro. Thank you. There are centers where so seniors can go to those centers each day and participate in activities and get a hot meal each day. We actually have just resumed those regular services during the pandemic. We were packing those meals up, and they were being bused each day to pick their meal up just for safety. But we just gotten to a place where we feel it's safe for us to resume normal activities. So that's available now for someone to attend the center. Unfortunately, these senior centers don't have a staff to provide care. So it is not an adult day health program. It is just socialization, food. A senior does have to be able to safely make it to the bathroom and back on their own, and just not need supervision in order to attend. But they're wonderful places, and we have about 400 individuals on a pretty regular basis that attend those centers and get that hot meal each day. It's a wonderful way to socialize. So we have a prescription drug assistance program. It's it's actually misnamed, I think. It's been called Senior RX for years, but you do not have to be a senior. You don't necessarily even have to be low income, or at least not ultra low income. You can definitely be above that, the quote poverty level. If there's a medication that you cannot afford, if you do not have insurance or it's not covered, you can always call. And every single thing we talk about today, remember, call Lee Russell about anything. We call it sort of our front line. It's called our ADRC department.
That's the next slide.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But so everything we talk about today, thanks, Jennifer, our ADRC, Aging Disability Resource Center, they take every call. If anyone calls and they want to know, I mean, our goal, whether it's a program that we have, whether we can actually help or not, we want to connect people to resources. We try to stay up on anything that's available in our community. We really try to network and know what's available. So if someone calls and they need rent assistance, we do not have, that's one thing, we don't have any kind of housing or rent assistance. But our ADRC is going to try and put someone in touch with any resource that's out there. Sadly, I hate how many times we have to say that's not available. There are limits to the services that are available. But if it's out there, or if we think it might be, we're going to try and help. So just keep in mind that the ADRC is, when you call, if you have any questions about anything we talk about, it's just a phone call to our ADRC, just our main line, 749-5264, 334-749-5264. You can ask for the ADRC. And then I know what I would love is for us to be able to keep a relationship with all of you, so that if we get a call from someone and there's a communication issue, if because of a language barrier, I would love to be able to reach out and have someone help, because unfortunately our ADRC staff, I would love to have some more assistance with language, but that is a major need that we have not been able to fill. So any help we can get on that front, you can ask someone to call on your behalf. That ADRC staff will just have to say, do I have permission to talk to Ms. Smith? And as long as you give the permission, then that person can speak on your behalf. So we will work with you in any way we can. But so any program we talk about, just know, call Lee Russell at 749-5264. And if you say, I have a question about, waiver or frozen meals, then our secretary, our receptionist will route you to the ADRC. And word of warning, there is a form for everyone we speak to. We do have to complete what's called a universal intake form. So there are a lot of questions. We do have to gather a lot of information, and those things just help us and trigger us to make sure we don't miss anything that might be able to help. So like I said, so going back to, I'm going to see what I missed. Okay, prescription drug assistance, so help affording medications.
Just go on to the next slide.
Sometimes, yeah, you can move on, although I'm going backwards.
Oh,
here.
you're going to that one. Okay.
But
you already talked about those too, so you can go on to the next one.
Sorry, I'm so used to this is all the information. This is what we want to get out. And so the PowerPoint is it's all in there, but I'm kind of skipping around.
What's the next slide?
The caregiver support.
Okay, yeah, that's the next slide, I think.
Well, let me talk. So let me try to stay with y'all instead of jumping all over the place. Our ombudsman. Oh, you can go back.
You're confusing them.
There we go. Okay. Our ombudsman advocates for individuals in long-term care facilities. So if you have a loved one who is in a Lee County, Russell County long-term care facility, and you are concerned that they are not receiving proper care, you can call and ask for our ombudsman, or just say you have a nursing home issue, and she can work with that facility to address the needs, the concerns. That is all she does, is work with the long-term care facilities to make sure that individuals are receiving the care that they need. So now there are limits to what she can do. I mean, she gets a lot of complaints about the food isn't good. And, as long as it meets the nutrition standards, sometimes there's limitations. We're going to make sure someone's being fed and that the nutrition standards are met. But, unfortunately, she can't fix all the issues, but she can ensure that the rights of facility residents are being met. She really tries to defend those rights and to make sure that the facilities are doing what they are required to do. So you can always ask a question about that to our ombudsman. We have a contract with legal assistance through Jan Neal Attorney at Law. There are funds through the state that provide some free legal assistance. Again, limitations to what she can do. If you have a question, like say you have a loved one that needs to go into the nursing home, but you have questions about Medicaid spend down. If you've ever navigated a nursing home placement before, you know that the financial part is Medicaid is very particular about how funds can be spent. They can look back up to 5 years. And so Jan Neal can help advise you on that spend down and how to get someone in the facility and to try and prevent there from being penalties because of the way money was spent or the way, what Medicaid is trying to make sure of when they do an application for long-term care is that before someone goes into a facility, if Medicaid's going to pay for that facility, which is $5,000-$6,000 a month, that the person going into the nursing home cannot gift anything before they go. If they have a savings account, they can't say, okay, I'm just going to write a check to my granddaughter because I would rather her have this money and then Medicaid can pay for my care. Medicaid can look back 5 years. Now, anything before that 5 years, you're kind of scot-free on that. But as far as what you can give away if you're about to receive payment for care from Medicaid, they're very picky, and they look at bank accounts. They look for patterns of spending. I think one exception to what you can spend money on, if you have a pattern, for example, of giving to your church, an individual has given 10% to their church their entire life, and Medicaid sees that check being written to the church, that is fine. However, if they notice that there was, the pattern was 10% and suddenly someone cleaned their bank account out to write a check to their church, that would be a penalty. So it gets really complicated. That's something that Jan Neal can advise individuals on. She can do a simple will, or she can do a simple power of attorney. If it gets complicated, then there will be fees associated. But she can do some basic free legal assistance for individuals over 60. So that's something. And the next slide. Of course, I talked about senior centers. If you have questions about the centers, feel free to call us. Alabama Cares is a program that really tries to assist those that are caring for someone with dementia or other diagnoses. But Lisa Askew, our Alabama Cares coordinator, she tries to learn everything she can about dementia and dementia support. And she also secures other grant funding. For example, we recently completed a Dementia Friendly Alabama. That's a statewide organization that tries to build awareness in the community for individuals living with dementia, tries to make the community more friendly to individuals that are having to navigate just everyday life while also having dementia. And for their caregivers who are exhausted, often not sleeping, she's able to pay for some respite care to give caregivers a break. There are supplemental services. So anything that an individual needs, if you're enrolled in this Alabama Cares program, again, this is one of our severely underfunded programs. There are limitations. There's generally a long wait list to receive assistance from this program, but maybe 1 to 3 years. Sometimes we can do emergency services, just a little bit of a kind of a Band-Aid. But for the most part, there's a long wait for these services. But once someone's enrolled, they can receive a gift card to help pay for, Lisa's been able to purchase a Walmart gift card because someone needed, incontinence supplies, adult diapers. There are things like that she's able to fund for that respite or the supplemental services for someone that's living with dementia. She offers support group. There's Zoom support groups. I got sidetracked. The Dementia Friendly Alabama grant we recently executed was for education in schools. So we offered to every school we could get in touch with, and several schools took us up on it. And we sent books that were written specifically for children to try and help them understand what's happening with their grandparents or another loved one who's facing a dementia diagnosis. We created a video and we had volunteers read these books and we sent those to classrooms. There were supplemental materials just to generate some discussion. There were different levels based on different age appropriateness, but we just want to start that conversation in elementary schools, middle schools as well about, this is something you might see. If your grandmother can't remember your name anymore, it just tries to address that heartbreaking reality that a lot of kids face. So anything that's out there that's going to help relieve the burden on caregivers or just educate people about dementia, that's where the Alabama Cares program focuses their time and resources. All right, next. I'm sorry, the names of the books. I can get you that. I know one was called, what was it, oh my gosh. I actually can go grab them. Let me go grab those titles.
Okay, well, I'll go grab them.
Okay, Lisa, ask Lisa, and we have purchased additional titles. So if you have a need or for someone, a child, and you want to get these books in their hands, let us know, and we will be happy to purchase. Not endlessly, but we could definitely get a handful of these books into the hands of the community. All right, of course, waiver. I'm going to let Jennifer handle that waiver discussion. I think that's where our questions may come in. Just a really broad overview of Medicaid waiver. We have about 300 people in Lee and Russell County on the waiver program. It is the goal of Medicaid waiver. Oh, is it locked? I think the door got locked. All right, sorry about that. The goal of waiver is preventing long-term care facility placement. So that is, and you can see what these services are. We're able to do some cleaning, personal care, go into the home, help with the bath, help make sure the home is safe and clean. We're not talking about deep clean. And sometimes we have clients that are upset that their worker won't scrub their ovens down to perfect shiny. We can't really do that, but the goal is services that make sure the home is safe and clean and that a person can get a bath. The worker can run errands. This is not full-time care, unfortunately. There are limitations to how many hours we can provide. It's really supplemental care. So if you have a loved one who you think without help would have to go into a facility. You're providing some care, but you need some help with that. And if someone coming in 10 hours a week, I mean, that there's not an absolute cap, but most of our clients are getting around that 10, 14 hours a week of care, just that basic support. So it's supplemental to keep them out of facilities. And I'll let Jennifer talk more about that. By the way, here are the books. So this one was called Granny Needs My Help. See, the author is Mills, Deborah Mills, M-I-L-L-S. And then this was My Grandma Has Dementia, and it was written by an Alex Winstanley. It's My Grandma Has Dementia. And then I think this was most of our favorite, Dancing with Granddad. Dancing with Granddad, author is Linda Bozzo, B-O-Z-Z-O. So, you know, specifically written for this purpose. And we've tried to get those out in the community as much as we can. We also have the videos of us reading, and we hired a videographer to come in with the funding. That's how we used it. We hired a videographer to film our volunteers, including our executive director, a local county commissioner, a senior volunteer. We also have a case manager that is a former Head Start teacher who is excellent with children. So we had her read one as well, but we can send those videos of them reading the books too. So, okay. So let's talk more about waiver.
I do not know if those are in other languages or not. If they are, they're probably going to be on Amazon. That's where I get a lot of my other language books for friends. So if they do have them, they would be on Amazon.
So are there questions, any questions up until this point? And then specifically Medicaid waiver questions about this program where someone can have care in their home to prevent going into a nursing home?
Okay, so Jennifer and Ms. Thomas, I send you via chat all the questions, so they have a Q and a dash. So
Yes.
I don't know if you would prefer to have them until the end, you know, or however you guys decide.
Are you finished with all your? I think she's finished with all of her.
Oh, and we can
agencies.
go to a couple more, but we'll stop on
Yeah.
waiver for a bit.
Okay, so one of them, you do have to have a social security number. Now, if you have a social security number, but you're a non-citizen, that's fine. We just have to show that you're in good legal standings. But you do have to have a social security number.
Will this be for the individual or for the adult applying?
The individual who's applying, whether it's a child or an adult, they do have to have a social security number.
I think the application does ask for parental too, doesn't it? No.
I've not ever given
Okay,
a
that's
parental,
that's good.
a parental social security number. Just the individual receiving the Medicaid assistance would need it.
They do turn, I know bank records, they do ask for parental
For
bank records.
Yes, but not social security
I
number.
mean, Medicaid does get deep in someone's business when they do these applications, but when it's a child, I don't know why they even look at that.
They want to make sure that they're not getting social security.
That the child
Child's
isn't.
not, yeah.
Because when you're a child on the program, your parental income does not matter at all. I always say Bill Gates' child could qualify for Medicaid waiver as long as no one has put money in that child's name with that child's social security number. The parental income is deemed completely away.
So we only serve Lee and Russell County. They do have a Medicaid waiver program in the Hoover area. You would just need to
the age line. You can,
Yeah.
if you just don't get routed to the right way, 1-800 age line. So just 1-800 AGELINE. And that will just send you to the Department of Senior Services and just say, I have a question about, Butler County. Like Bullitt County. Butler is in Choctaw, sorry. But Montgomery County. And they will route you to the correct area agency on aging.
Jennifer, would you like to read the question so that people know what is the answer? Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Do we have a staff that speaks Spanish?
I wish.
We do not right now. But I do know that there is the assistance with the Koreans speaking. I'm not sure if there is one with Spanish. That's something that we do need to look at because we do have several people who do speak Spanish that are on our caseload, and we do have to rely on family members for a translation. But that is something that we are interested in.
We have
getting
tried,
relations with.
we've just not had any success. And, you know, I think we couldn't provide a full-time individual. So I think we just have to rely on someone in the community who's able to sort of volunteer their time, unfortunately.
The next question is, this program, you already have to have Medicaid to be a client. I was told my child is in the waiting list. You do not have to have Medicaid currently to apply. If you don't have Medicaid, I help you complete a deeming application. And basically this application is proving to Medicaid that you don't have the income to pay for outside services. And your child is on the waiting list. So if you are in Hoover County, I'm not sure how their waiting list works.
Oh, is this in Hoover? Okay.
Yeah, I think this person is from Hoover. I don't know how that agency handles theirs right now. I technically don't have a waiting list. I have people that are on my schedule to be screened.
That's either going to be M4A or RPC Birmingham. I'm not sure which of those two. One I believe is located in maybe Alabaster or Calera, and the other one in Birmingham, I think would cover that area. There's probably not much of a waiting. I think most places don't have a true waiting list. I will say this. If a family doesn't have all the documentation ready, then that slows things down. The best thing you can do is communicate to that AAA. We have everything you asked for, we have it. And that usually will speed it along. I can't speak for that agency, but I know in our case, we don't really have a waiting list. We have hundreds of people who've called and asked questions about the program that we have completed a screening on. But if an individual is ready to be assessed and has all the documentation that Medicaid has requested, then Jennifer will schedule an assessment within days, maybe 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah. Someone told me that if a parent doesn't have a valid Social Security number, my child cannot receive Medicaid waiver. I have not run into that, but I can definitely contact my cohort in Medicaid and ask. I do know that just because recently I had a client who has a Social Security number, but he was a non-citizen, that he was able to apply. I do not know about the parents having Social Security numbers. I've never run across that. On my application, I'm going through it now, and there is not even a place on said application for a parent's Social Security number, just the person who's applying, the child or the client. Now the parent will have to show bank statements to prove to Medicaid that that child is not receiving any kind of income or Social Security.
Photo ID? Did they ask for a parental photo ID?
No, they don't ask for anything for the parents except for their bank statements and everything. So that is something I can check with and then get back with Maria on that. Now I will say we are not Medicaid. I help with the application to it, and I help Medicaid waiver our elderly and disabled waiver. But when it comes to making decisions on Medicaid, unfortunately, that is not me.
They're in a separate building. They are a separate agency. We just run this program that Medicaid pays for.
Yes.
And I think that confuses a lot of people, because when it comes time for Medicaid to make a determination if someone qualifies, that is done completely outside of our agency.
What documentation what documents are needed for requirement? So if it is someone who is older, not a child, bank statements to show that they're not getting any kind of income or what kind of income they are getting. If that person has anything that basically associated with their name, whether that's a deed to a home, a title to a car, a life insurance policy, Medicaid would need to have proof of that.
Income statements.
Yes.
So if you receive Social Security, that long form that is sent out, that perforated page that's sent out each year, we always need a copy of that.
For children who their parents are applying for, just the 12 months worth of bank statements for them. And sometimes Medicaid will ask that the parents go ahead and apply for SSI, Social Security income for that child. And if they are close to becoming 18, they will ask for them to apply for Social Security disability before they make a final decision on Medicaid.
But we have a packet, a lovely packet that our ADRC put together that we can, if you want, and we could send it to Maria, to
Ms. Hill.
Ms.
Dr.
Hill,
Dr. Hill.
to Dr. Hill, and then in Montgomery at the language,
Irene.
to Irene, and then you could go ahead and work on translating that maybe, and that would be a good tool, but it walks you through step by step the application and what's needed.
Can young children be a part of this program? Yes. My child has an intellectual disability and autism plus other medical conditions. So depending on the medical conditions, yes. If he just had intellectual disability and autism, unfortunately, the elderly and disabled waiver would not qualify him. But if he has other medical conditions that are quote unquote unstable, then yes. We have several criteria that they have to make that Medicaid makes them meet. A criteria is taking medication on a regular basis, going to see a doctor on a regular basis,
Needs help physically with mobility.
toileting, or eating. And then of course, if they have any like feeding tube or oxygen or dialysis fistula, those would definitely qualify.
It really comes down to how the physician, because a physician will have to fill out a medical form. So how the physician fills that form out, and then there's a nurse at the Department of Senior Services who'll review it, and that nurse will make a determination based on what the doctor stated were the diagnoses. That nurse will determine, do they meet this medical criteria? It's very case by case.
Next question is it true that we need to save all spending receipts so that of what we spend on our children who receive SSI? I can't answer that question because I'm not Social Security at all. I know if you use a bank account, I always tell people that that's the receipt, but unfortunately, I can't answer that question.
I would say, err on the side of saving documentation when possible. If there are funds that Medicaid, for one reason or another, starts looking at, and you can show that those funds were spent on the care or the food for, there are situations, and especially when you get into adults who are applying for the program, children can be a little different. I know this has come up. I have sat with an individual who she had sold a house and had received a $20,000 check after the sale of that house. And so it had only been a couple of years since that happened. So we needed to show that she had spent all that money on her care. Well, that's what Medicaid says. You can't give that money away, but you can spend it on yourself. She and I went through her entire house. We spent hours finding medical, old prescription bills, utility bills, just anything that was for her, things she had bought for her home, so that we could account for this money and show it was spent on her. Again, these are such case-by-case situations, but generally Medicaid just wants to know that you don't have money. And if you've spent money, it was spent on the care of the disabled individual.
Next question, if the person is high functioning on autism spectrum, but does not have a physical condition, but rather mental condition, can parents still apply? Just with that question, I would say not for the elderly and disabled. They would need to go with mental health ID waiver. Now, there are some exceptions. I do have clients who now they are older, who have had schizophrenia, but their schizophrenia has now changed into dementia. And so yes, with the dementia they do. That would be a case by case. I would have to talk in depth with the parents to be able to fully answer that question. But just based off of what I read just now, I would say it would have to be the mental health ID waiver.
And there is talk. I don't know. I have no idea if this is actually realistically going to happen in the near future. But I have heard discussion of a specific autism waiver. I don't know if anyone else has any more information on that, how close Medicaid might be to providing it, but I don't know who would administer it. But I'm hopeful. I know there are other states that have those. And I'm hopeful that there will be an autism waiver, that specifically qualifies you in these situations if the care is needed because of an autism or other ID diagnosis. We certainly need more slots for those types of diagnoses.
Is there a waiting list for the Medicaid waiver? So from my agency, there is not. As soon as parents either get in the documentation that's needed or they contact our agency, normally they can get on my calendar. I'm scheduling for July right now. And so it just, the waiting list would be waiting for, a week or two for me to come out to do the assessment, but they're automatically getting on my waiting list.
A lot of times what the holdup is someone being able to track down all the financial documentation. And that's just something we cannot do. I can't call a bank and say, give me John Smith's bank statements. Only that individual can gather a lot of that.
Do you know if there are any books in Spanish or Korean? I said, I'll check on that. And then she will send you guys the link for the readings.
And the link, and instead of a link online, we really have it in a Dropbox file. So we will have it up. Our website has been under construction and I apologize, y'all. We've had a time with our webmaster and getting our website updated. Eventually we will link them on there. For now, email me. If you would like that, I can send you that file. Email me. It's just jthomas@lrcog.com. That's just the acronym for Lee Russell Council of Governments. jthomas@lrcog.com. And that goes for anything. Feel free to shoot me an email anytime about anything. And, I'll help if I possibly can. I'd love to.
Or Ms. Thomas, if it is helpful, if you could send it to me, I'll be happy once I share the PowerPoint PDF document, I could include those as well.
Okay, sure. I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
Next question is, do you have to show proof of income and taxes? Taxes, I've never had them ask. Income, yes.
They're going to have access to all your tax records.
Yeah.
They already have access to your bank statements. They have an asset verification system. I've never understood why that's not enough, but
I've never had them ask for taxes, just the income proof. But your bank statement will show your income being deposited in there. Can you still qualify? So can you still qualify if your child has a special needs trust? The simple answer is yes, you can. However, if you were to contact me, I would still have you contact Jan Neal with our legal services just to make sure that the trust and everything is where it needs to be before we apply. But the simple answer is yes, if you have a special needs trust for your child, they can still apply for Medicaid waiver because that's not considered an income or resource.
And that's the purpose of that trust, is to sort of protect that separately.
Okay, I've just delivered my app to the Medicaid waiver. I do not know what
Maria, can you
next.
hear me?
¿Sí?
Sí, mire, tengo una pregunta. Yo tengo una niña que va a cumplir
Señora
18
Kelly,
años.
Perdón. ¿Me podría mandar la pregunta en privado para proteger la protección y la información de su hija?
Ok.
¿Sería mejor? ¿Le importaría?
Sí, pero ¿me podría dar su teléfono, por favor?
Ok, sí. Gracias. I just asked the parent if they could send me that information, so that we could keep the privacy of the individual.
Gotcha.
So,
Yes.
but I will forward you the question.
All right. What, is that the one that the Medicaid application being dropped off?
No.
No, okay. I just
Autism.
delivered my Medicaid
That's what
waiver.
we just did,
Is that what I just did?
right?
No, that's not what I just did. This is from Iris. This is from one of the interpreters. So I don't know where you dropped it off at. Chances are you probably dropped the Medicaid waiver application off at Medicaid, and
Was this for our office?
Iris, can you ask them if it was for our office or if they dropped it off at the Medicaid office themselves?
I believe it was not for your office.
Okay, so chances are they're possibly going to get a denial letter from Medicaid because they need a slot from me. But if Iris wants to just email me their contact or have that client contact me, then I can see if they've even contacted our agency and we can work together on getting what they need from us first. Where am I at?
I would like to know what steps to follow and how long does it take? And then again, let's see.
What did I do?
What
Sorry, I
steps to
muted
take?
it.
Right here,
Okay.
right. Oh, wait.
I just turned, no. Oh, what steps? Okay, I just turned in my application for the Medicaid waiver and I would like to know what steps to follow and how long it takes to get an answer. So normally if you drop something off at Medicaid,
It's such a
it's
range.
about 10 days that you'll get a letter. Sometimes it takes 3 weeks and you will get a letter. Now, if you go with, if we go through it and I help you with the application and I take all your documentation and my slot confirmation to Medicaid, I'm able to kind of follow up and assist you in that process because the case managers, kind of work with me on that. But if you are just dropping off a Medicaid application and not going through the elderly and disabled waiver, I really don't know. It could be a week or 2 weeks before you get a hold of them. But with just the elderly and disabled waiver, you'll have to go through me to work with getting a slot through Montgomery and everything else to be able to get approved. Sometimes it can take a month after dropping it off. Sometimes it can take a few weeks. It just really depends. It's an individual case by case basis.
And I saw the question about the other agencies. I'm going to send Maria that list that has all of the area agencies on aging in the state.
Yes. Yes, about the other agencies. Apply for the program if their parents have a business. Yes. Sorry. Can someone apply for this program if their parents have a business? Yes, absolutely, because it is off the individual applying. So if I want to apply for this program and I only have an income of 900, but let's say my husband has an income of 5,000 a month, it goes off what I receive off my resources and my income. So if a parent has a business and they're applying for their child, yes, that does not matter at all.
So far, those are all the questions that came to me. So
I'll talk a little bit about, so the SHIP is specifically Medicare counseling. We have someone, we actually also contract with Jan Neal's office. Dawn Glasscock is just the Medicare's guru. We're very lucky to have her here in Lee County. Anyone with a Medicare question can call us and we'll get you in touch and she will get you a one-on-one appointment. That's just assistance with selecting the best Medicare plan and drug assistance plan. And she also can just answer other insurance questions. So as we all know, health insurance is extremely difficult to navigate. So she can try to help with all of that. We can go to the next slide.
I think that was it.
Oh, okay, good. I just want as much as possible for everyone in the community to know about us, know what we do. We'll think that we've covered all of our bases in getting the word out, and then I'll talk to a social worker at the hospital who doesn't know about the Medicaid waiver program. And I think we're missing our chance. You know, obviously our marketing budget isn't just super robust. So we really need to work to network and connect, because I would absolutely hate for someone to need something and there be a program and they just don't know about it. And so we want just to spread the word about what we do. What, you know, everybody's situation is different. Every day we run into something new we've never seen before. But just know that you can call that number statewide, 1-800-AGELINE, 1-800-AGE line, to get routed to the correct office. If you're here, just call 334-749-5264. And you just say, you can just tell our receptionist what you need. I have a Medicare question, and they'll get you routed to the right person. You're almost always going to start with our ADRC department, because that's their job to see who you need to get in touch with to help. So we just want to be able to connect people to resources. Like I said, unfortunately, there are many occasions where we just have to say, I'm sorry, there's nothing out there. But usually we can at least connect somebody to something that helps. And with especially our waiver program, I feel like it's life-changing for a lot of individuals.
We do have one question. What is the difference between Medicaid and Medicare? So Medicare is if you've been disabled for 24 months, you'll get Medicare. That's Part A, Part B, that's hospital and doctors. If you're 65 and over, then you get it, the health insurance for hospitals and doctors. Medicaid is for low income individuals. You have to meet that poverty level to be able to receive Medicaid.
Whereas Medicare is based on having paid into the
system.
system over your life. And the majority of people on Medicare are 65 and over, with the exception of the
Disabled individuals. But yes, so Medicaid is lower income, and Medicare is that you've paid into the system once you get to a certain age.
And sometimes you hear people that propose the idea of Medicare for all, which we do not have that, but the idea would just be that you know, our healthcare system allow for anyone, any age, to be able to receive what you do at 65 and over, which for the most part, Medicare is great. I mean, it's still costly in a lot of ways, but it's just a way that guarantees medical care for individuals, you know, that have paid into the system. It guarantees that care for them once they're older. And we know that individuals that are 65 and over utilize the healthcare system on average more than younger individuals.
Okay. I don't see any other questions, but I do want to say that I appreciate so much your time and your expertise to share with our families. Okay, hold on just one second. I think that's one just popped up. Okay, no. So so once you send me that extra information, I will add it to the email that we sent with the PDF document for this presentation and the link recording. So Dr. Hill, Dr. Drew, is there anything else?
I was just going to say thank you again for presenting today. I think you provided a lot of really valuable information. What I gleaned was that you can get some free legal assistance if you're over 60. And I also would assume that if you have an individual in your family under 60 who has disabilities, you could probably also call to at least get more information. Then
let me give you one more number.
Okay.
Let me get this just jogged my memory, because there's another organization that's funded for legal advice. I'm glad you brought that up, and I just thought about it. Legal Services Alabama they're based in Montgomery, and they can provide statewide assistance. And we actually had them come speak to us at our last staff meeting. One of the things that legal services can really help with is rent issues, landlord issues, which I know can come up a lot. So let me give you, Legal Services Alabama, LSA, and let me give you a contact. Is it Kim? Yes, it's Kim. So the our contact is Kimberly Homer. She's the project manager for Legal Services Alabama. Kimberly Homer, Homer, and her email is Homer, Khomer at alsp.org. That's the acronym for Alabama Legal Services Program. Like so Homer at aslp.org. Their website is www.legalservicesalabama spelled out.org, www.legalservicesalabama.org. And the phone number they list as her main contact is 334-409-6278. And so they are able to help with a wide array of legal services, probably even more broad than what Janelle can do because her contract is specifically for seniors. So do remember that as another resource. Sorry, I meant to share that earlier.
That's perfect. In fact, another thing I gleaned from your presentation was that you need to start early because it's kind of complicated. And then that there are agencies.
Save everything.
That there are agencies all across the state. So it's good for families to know that maybe they could go to the website, or they can call you, or they can. I know when we were in Montgomery for the Disability Expo, there was a group there who were talking about the Panda Project. I don't know if you have, it was from the Central Alabama Aging Consortium. And they also had information on helping people with dementia and IDD to help them live in their community. So there's information out there, and you have just kind of helped us peel back a little bit and know that, you know, that you're one of the people we can ask, and that there are other people like you across the state that can help families. The only other thing, and thank you again, I wanted to thank our interpreters, Miss Baker, Miss Iris, Miss Dew, and Miss Joe. They always do a superb job. And I put the link to the Alabama Council on Developmental Disabilities surveys. Because we get federal funding, they get federal funding, they need feedback. So if anybody would please fill out the surveys and send them here, and it will go straight to ACDD. So they can have feedback on this presentation. So again, thank you. I'll hand it off to Dr. Drew.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your contribution. And this is something that we haven't heard about before in the 2 years. So I think this is really valuable information, and this will also go up on YouTube so folks can watch it again. And Maria will be sending out the slides and all the information that she receives from our 2 speakers. So this is really great. And again, just an aspect that we had not dealt with at all in our grant in the last 2 years. So thank you so much for bringing this really critical information to our participants.
And Jennifer and Ms. Thomas, I don't know if you answered this question, but I was going back through the questions that we posted.
You might have missed one. We were kind of confused there all the time.
That's okay. So it says, is it true that we need to save all the spending receipts so that we spend on our children who receive SSI?
That one I'm not able to answer because I'm not SSI, so I don't know about that.
For the purposes of the Medicaid waiver application, I mean, in many cases, no, but I would say
if it's something big, I always tell my clients, you know, if it's $10 here, or you take out cash for this and that, that's fine. If it's over like $100, go ahead and save the receipt, just because you want to show that it's for your care. A lot of my clients do, instead of using, you know, a card and stuff, they anytime they get paid, they take out all that money and they pay in cash. And that's when I tell them, yes, save the receipts. But if you're using your card and your checkbook and you have it on this bank statements, then you don't need to, because you have it on the bank statements. But if you are using cash and it is a larger amount, then yes, go ahead and save the receipts, at least for my program. For SSI, I'm not really sure how SSI looks at that.
Yeah.
Okay, great suggestions. And I just want to say thank you again for coming in today, and thank you
Thanks
to
for
our
having
parents.
us.
I know that we're still during summer, and parents, are doing fun activities with their children and just enjoying the summertime. But it's a great this is a great way for us to continue learning. So we appreciate that you guys were able to come. I just want to make an announcement, okay? Since we know the summer is not over yet, but a lot of parents have been requesting, when are we doing in-person programs? So I have good news. So we'll be doing our first hybrid program after COVID, and this will be on the Shelby area. So be on the lookout for an informational flyer that will be telling you more about the program. But this will be on July 9th from 9 until 12. So this will be a make and take kind of event that will provide information and resources to families so that we learn how to help transition our children from summer mode into getting them ready to start school again and get them back into the routine. So we hope that families could come from the Shelby area, from all the cities around that area, Calera, Pelham, so we want families to come in, but also people to join us via Zoom. So we'll be sending that information as well pretty soon. So if there's anything else, well, I just want to say thank you to our speakers and our interpreters, and we'll be seeing you around.
And fill out the survey.
Yes, please, fill out the survey. And let us know if you guys have any questions, or if you think about a topic that you would like us to invite a speaker, we'll be happy to look into that. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you.